Hey guys, it's Mountain Walk, and today we're going to be talking about a couple different things. A couple big, nice new things in Magic, which is, I guess I've been thinking a little bit about, which I am feeling various different things, I guess. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's just get started. First off, we got a whole bunch of new, like 3 years, I think up to 2025 or 2026, of new Magic sets coming out, or at least previewed at Gen Con a little bit ago, about a week or so ago. And I mean, I guess like in general, like some of the stuff is cool. I mean, a lot of it's just like a continuation of World of Hats stuff. It's like, oh, well, this is Cowboy World. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess. And it's worse than that because it's like, oh, it's Cowboy World, but you're only going to get one set on Cowboy World. It's like, okay, so like, I don't even know what's going on. I don't know any of the characters, any of these legends, and I definitely don't give a crap about them. So that's really unfortunate. I mean, I don't know. Like, in general, like, I like the idea of being able to, in some respect, travel freely between the planes as long as there's like an omen path or something. But like, obviously, the whole like Phyrexian stuff was just like horrendous. Like, why not return like Zalfir to Dominaria instead of making its own thing? Like, how did it switch places with like Phyrexia or Mirrodin or whatever, and why to keep the moons? Like, what? I don't actually know. That doesn't make any sense. Like, it's stupid. It just feels like plot demands that we do this, and it doesn't have to make sense. It's not like there was any sort of like foreshadowing for it. It's just like, this is what happens. Because it would have been like cool, you could have like Zalfir, which I believe has always been the most advanced civilization on Dominaria, return to Dominaria after a couple hundred years, and like you have like this culture shock or whatnot of like this more advanced, like technologically or magically or whatever sort of civilization, or well, hopefully more of the latter than the former, but generally their interactions with people they may not even know very well, although I guess time was wonky and it wasn't that long in their perception. But now it's like we have, um, I mean, I don't know. I mean, whatever. Like, it's just, I mean, honestly, like, planeswalkers are desparked, but then they can also still travel between the planes. Why? I don't know. No reason. Plot demands it, I guess. I mean, the story is so awful. The story is so awful. Like, I like the idea of like, oh, we're taking ideas or whatever from the real world or whatever. But it's like it's more interesting to not just make like one to one, like sort of like, oh, we're referencing this and that and the other or whatever, And it would be okay if they even did that if it was cool. Like if they did stuff that was cool, they're like, okay, we're going to Theros and we're just going to like ape God of War and it's gonna be awesome and bloody and brutal and it's gonna be sweet. And this guy's also a planeswalker, so he's gonna be a total badass across the multiverse. He's just gonna just like kill all the gods or something. That's really cool. It's obviously literally just like God of War, like the original game, and God of War, like Ragnarok and stuff. So, yeah, it wouldn't be original, but it would be cool. But like, instead, we got like some really awful writing, just like literal, like I have taken a college 101 course in writing, and maybe even less than that. So it's not great, not great. The new settings just need more time to be fleshed out. That's just not interesting to me. I just don't care about any of this stuff. Like, I think like Ixalan is a good example of a set where like they're combining a bunch of different real world sort of influences and ideas and themes and stuff, like this sort of like the conquistadors, except they're vampires, and then like there's all this other stuff where like their vampire lady that went over, their I guess vampire messiah. Is that maybe that's not exactly the best word to use, but yeah, they're trying to find that person, and then like there's also the Mesoamerican inspired people, but also they're like they have dinosaurs, so it's dino riders and stuff, except obviously more Mesoamerican style, and so all of those motifs, which is cool. Like I like that. But then there's like the like the stuff. Well, there's like sort of Trinitarian kind of things with like the three Dino gods and things like that, and the avatar of said Dino god. And then there's apparently like a Bat god, um, and that's really cool. And like I think the next Ixalan set is like literally Journey to the Center of the Earth kind of stuff, which is I mean just such a cool, sweet like adventure kind of thing. I mean there's a lot of really cool stuff and ideas in Ixalan. Unfortunately, like the power level or or other problems with card balancing and standard. But I think the setting of Ixalan is cool and like shows what Magic can be, even when it is like drawing very heavily, obviously very heavily, off of real world and historical ideas and themes. And so it can be good. I think Amonkhet is very similar, where it's like ancient Egyptian plane, but it's like you have like all of this crazy stuff. Like, yeah, the afterlife and stuff is really important because there's a curse of wandering, and most of the plane seems to be destroyed, except there's that unicorn card or something, I think, that refers to like other parts of the plane that might actually not be destroyed. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff going on. The gods are pretty cool, but it's like all the main characters, like almost all of the planeswalkers are just awful, or like there are some that are cool, like Sorin, which they do literally nothing with for like 15 years, and it's just like, wow, good job. Good job. You made like the coolest, sweetest things. Like what if Sasuke was like a planeswalker, man? He could do some really cool stuff. No, we're just gonna make him like lame. It's like, oh, okay. Well, what if Sire Denathrius was a planeswalker? No, he's just gonna be lame. He has to just be lame. It's like, really, guys, you just can't do anything good. I mean, there's so few like interesting or cool planeswalkers. They're all like sort of these one-dimensional, like flat cardboard self-inserts. Not great. I don't know. Whatever. Most of the new sets, I'm just like kind of, I guess, sure. I mean, like I like the new Eldraine because like I think the fairy tale stuff is really cool. You can do cool stuff with that, and I like just the aesthetic. I think that's just sort of classic fantasy. Obviously, it's classic fantasy, right? And at least if you're like a Westerner, so that stuff you're very familiar with, so that's really cool. Um, but yeah, a lot of the stuff I just don't care about most of the stuff. I don't know. More Modern Horizons is cool as long as they don't screw up like the power level stuff. Like I understand needing like these really powerful answers and things like that and powerful threats to make decks have to do more than just goldfish, which is again obviously a very good thing. But I'm not a huge fan of like the having to buy super expensive play sets of cards, like your $200 of Bowmasters and stuff, or your $200 for your One Ring or whatever. And that's saying nothing about like these Universes Beyond crossovers. Like, yeah, I love Final Fantasy. I love Final Fantasy a lot more than Magic, probably, at least in a way that like more connects with my childhood and stuff like that. I guess in that way, yeah, I certainly like it. Um, and I have better feelings like Jurassic Park, right? They're doing a Jurassic Park Secret Lair where I'm like, yeah, I love Jurassic Park, I love dinosaurs, that's great, but like, why is this anywhere near Magic? Like, what does Fallout have anything to do with Assassin's Creed? Like, why are we doing this stuff? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's so stupid. Anyways, so whatever. As long as new Modern Horizon stuff, like as long as like I said last time I talked about this, as long as it focuses on boosting up fringe decks that have been underpowered for a long time, or haven't gotten new cards for a long time, or a little bit of A, a little bit of B, or just creating new archetypes or something. Like, maybe there's a replicate deck or an arcane deck or something like that. Like, I mean, any of that stuff, that would be cool. That would be much better than just like, here are these generic good cards that are played in a bunch of different decks. They're going to be like $200 for a playset. It's like, really? Like, yeah, there's a difference between, yeah, Solitude is good to exist because it answers problematic creatures for no mana at instant speed. That's a good thing to have. Like, answers, generally, you really want strong answers, especially in a pseudo eternal format like Modern. And of course, speaking of Modern and of eternal formats and all that, of course, we have most recent unbannings. And yeah, so that's, I mean, that's good. Overall, I would say it's good, right? Like, I didn't think they would unban Preordain because I think there's, again, a decent amount of risk. The card is very open-ended. It's not like this one combo card that's played in one deck and the card itself is awful and the deck itself is awful. Like, it's not like that. Preordain is obviously a much better card, right? Like, this card still sees play in Legacy and Vintage, right? And in a lot of combo-based decks, because it is just pretty strong. It's pretty strong. It doesn't compare to Preordain or Brainstorm, of course, but it is pretty strong. So, I guess, like, watching their reasoning, there was a Magic stream where, was it Blake Rasmussen was talking about, like, people were asking him questions about, like, oh, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? Why did you not unban these cards? It's like, oh, well, we want to unban cards that would do something, and oh, Murktide hasn't seen much play, and oh, it fell from, the top of the meta, and da-da-da-da-da, and it's like, I mean, I don't understand, like, I understand, like, yeah, you can unban Preordain. It's not like the most dangerous combo enabler of all time. There is a lot of risk for it going forward, especially since you can put it in basically anything that runs blue. It increases consistency a lot, so there is, again, a lot of risk. And again, the way I look at the ban list is through like risk management, right? As well as just kind of a cost-benefit analysis, right? And so it's like, okay, so you're really, really worried about not making, Murktide be like the 5th or 6th best deck in the format. It's like, oh shoot, we need to help out Murktide. Oh boy, won't someone think of the Murktide players? Oh no, poor Murktide. Oh man, it'd be horrible if, someone's deck they had played for a couple years just isn't good anymore because they stopped printing cards for it. I mean, oof. Or cards that were good in the deck were banned and then it's unplayable. Man, that's terrible. Well, anyways, better unban Preordain to help Murktide. It's like how can you even say that with a straight face? Like, I guess he wasn't involved specifically with the ban decisions. He was just in the room offering his own opinion or whatever, but still, like, this is absurd. There's a bunch of different decks that are like tier 3, tier 4 in Modern that could use a hell of a lot more help than like Murktide, that aren't even like beyond playable. Like, I mean, it's just, I mean, it's very shocking. It's very strange, and it kind of confirms our worst fears about the ban list. Like, I mean, in some respects, yeah, it makes more sense to unban a card that will actually see play and do something, and but in others it's just like, it's really weird, like, where you have all these bad cards that people want to play. Like, I want to play Splinter Twin. There's no way I'm going to get blown out on turn 4 with my really slow, bad 3-mana 2-card combo, and then I play a 4-mana Aura, and then it's like, oh boy, I'm definitely not going to get BTFO'd. It's I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, I don't understand. Like, there is value in unbanning cards that are bad, because people that really want to play them, have fond memories of them, should be allowed to do that. Like, oh, what if it's too good? Yeah, what are the chances of Blazing Shoal being too good? Yeah, there's no way we could ever figure that out. I mean, How is it possible? Like, we have to, we're playing a deck with 10 cards that are total bricks, if not 12 cards. 4 Blazing Shoal, like 4 Progenitus, I mean, just like 4 other 12 mana uncastable, like red card. It's like, man, how good would that deck be? It's like, oh, geez, no one would know. Oh, yeah. Like, it's, it's unbelievable. Like, the discourse around this stuff is just so stupid. It's, I mean, you can't even make it up. You can't even make it up. I mean, these cards obviously shouldn't be on the list. Like, if they're unbanned, they won't do anything. Like, people try to play their, bad, like, Splinter Twin decks, and, like, when their first Pastor gets killed by an Orcish Bowmasters, they're going to feel like a big idiot. I'm like, oh, I'll just play Teferi, and then I have, like, my 3-card uninteractable combo that I kill on turn 5. And it's like, really, dude? Like, I mean, are we still talking about modern, or are we talking about like standard from, like, I don't know, 2006? Like, what is even going on here? So it's like people just say stuff and it's just completely ridiculous. And it's like there's just nothing going on, nothing bouncing around between the ears, unfortunately. So yeah, Wizards has pretty strange logic for stuff like, cool, like, you unbanned Mind's Desire and Legacy. That's pretty sweet. That's a lot more exciting, I think, than Preordained. Just because Mind's Desire is a sweet card. I love casting it, and it's super fun to cast. Like, oh boy, that gives you a lot of dopamine. But not great. I think there's a lot more interesting stuff like Survival that could have been banned. Definitely Memory Jar would have been a really good one. Definitely a very exciting card. Does a lot of really cool stuff with, like, Goblin Welder, obviously. I mean, man, tons of cool stuff you could do. A lot of great opportunities to get chaff off the list. But Silver Lining, it sounds like, at least according to, what they were talking about in the live stream and their articles, that they were going to, it seems like a sort of this gradual process of slowly unbanning stuff. I think there's quite a bit of cards, well, probably more modern than Legacy, I'd say, that you could unban that would add to the format, or at least, just get bad cards off the ban list. Even if it's only the former, only if they're only trying to, quote unquote, add cards to the format. I mean, you're going to have your ban list full of, Blazing Shoals and Dark Depths in Modern, which is just like totally ridiculous. It's just a pretty insane thought, but hey, that's what Wizards is doing. Well, we wanted to add something. What does that mean exactly? So yeah, it seems like they have a very big hatred of combo stuff, where it's like these people got abused by combo cards like 20 years ago plus, and it's just like they never recovered. Like, just the worst, Timmys or casual players. It's like, oh no, oh, what if they play casual cards? Well, anyways, let's unban Stoneforge and Jace. It's like, interesting strategy here. Like, unbanning the cards that are more likely to be see play and be more problematic, even though, of course, those cards were not. But, I mean, it's very strange. I don't know. Like I said, it doesn't make a ton of sense. They have it feels like their own personal biases are coloring the way that things are played. Like I said, again, it just feels like there's no standard, although I really do like them shedding more light upon, like, how they're deciding things, if only because we can critique it, and hopefully they'll be able to, or maybe, hopefully, right, if they're open-minded, or like being like, oh wow, we were wrong about this, yeah, let's take a more standardized approach. That would be good. But this is a step in the right direction, even if there's a half step back. I think this is good. It's a good thing in general. But in general, I guess, yeah, that's mostly it. I don't know, there's a lot of stuff going on, but mostly good stuff, I guess. More Magic sets or something, more Universes Beyond stuff or something, and whatever. I hate Universes Beyond, but whatever. Maybe we'll just get. You're gonna have to play Sephiroth, and you're gonna have to reanimate Sephiroth. That's your current reanimation target in 2026 is Sephiroth. You're gonna have to reanimate Sephiroth instead of Griselbrand. Gristlegran's gonna look like a bitch compared to Sephiroth, and then you're also gonna have to reanimate Kefka. That's right, yeah. You're gonna get a double reanimate spell. You lose 15 life, but you get Kefka and Sephiroth, which makes you win the game immediately. Gonna be sweet. I can't wait for Magic in the next few years. Pretty great. So, anyways, guys, so thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed this, and have a nice day.